everybody. We're here talking about the Advanced Functions and Modeling Indicators, Standard 2.04, and this is example 1. Now, to be honest with you, I don't have a problem admitting when I've made a mistake, and I have made a mistake on graphing this particular example yet again. But we're going to correct it. So on the corrected graph, I did not draw the vertical shift. So let's write the graph again, or write the function again first of all. So we're going to have 5 cosine of 2x plus 3. So if we talk about the amplitude of this function, and let's go ahead and put f of x on there. The amplitude is 5, which is a. The period is equal to 2 pi over b, which simplifies to just pi. The phase shift, in this case, there is none. And the vertical shift, in this case, it is c, which is 3, and it's going up. So the parent function for this particular function has a center at 0. I'm sorry, has a center on the x-axis. But if it has a vertical shift of 3 units, then now the center of this particular graph goes across right there. So since it's the cosine function, we're going to start up now at we started up initially, the amplitude was 5, but if we add 3, we're going to get 8. So the top of the graph will be here. Now remember, the period is only pi units. So the top of the graph would go from here down to -2 and back up to a maximum point at 8. That's one period. And then we go back down to -2 again, and we come back up to our maximum point at 8, and we're going to stop at 2 pi. Now I went to 2 pi because originally this says x is between 0 and 2, but I want to change that to 2 pi. And the reason I say that is because typically when you have a trig function, the x-axis is labeled in radians, which radians always include units of pi. So this time, for the third time, I have finally gotten this graph correct. Now let's talk about a few other things that my students have asked about as they've studied these examples. Number one, if this is the center of the graph at y equals 3, then we said the amplitude is 5. So if I go from 3 up to 8, that is going to be, so 8 minus 3, that gives us 5 units. Okay, so that's the amplitude. Okay, and so from the center of the graph to the highest point on the graph is 5 units. And then if we come over here and we go from the center of the graph to the minimum point, and we actually do the math, well, 3 minus -2 is equal to 5. So we have another amplitude here. All right. So those are two things. Once again, we also can look at the period from this beginning point where x equals 0 over to x equals pi. Notice the period is pi. We go from the highest point to the lowest point on the graph back to the highest point. So that is a period from this distance right here to here. That's going to be a period. Actually, let's draw it over here. So if we go from there to there, that's a period. Once again, the graph goes from the highest point. It starts at the highest point because it's the cosine function. It goes to the lowest point, and then it arrives back at the highest point on the graph at 2 pi. So hopefully you all can benefit from this. One day I'm going to look back and laugh at these mistakes, but that's the name of the game, making sure that I let you all know when I have giving you the incorrect information and also letting you know I don't mind correcting myself